Welcome to the OVW podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. My name is Jack Minoaks.
And I'm Brian Hines.
Today we are getting to all the action from OVW Rise number 1284, emanating live originally from historic Davis Arena on March 21st, 2024. We still have a lot of stuff coming to you. Know us. We keep busy in this feed, Brian.
There's a ridiculous amount of stuff that's in the vault that we have yet to...
I mean, we don't even know what it sounds like.
No,
we were present for it.
Yeah.
What's coming up next? This is some heavy lifting on your part. Is what's coming up next?
The next thing to come out in addition to our weekly show is the Comic-Con special.
And
right.
I do have to jump in here to apologize that we didn't get this out last week. This is what was scheduled for last week, but with the pay-per-view coverage last week, we just it would have just been filling up our feed a little much, so we decided to go ahead and just ease up, and we'll put that out. You'll see that on Thursday morning here in the feed.
There's only so many hours of the day, for you to get around to, putting stuff in the feed, for our listeners to catch up on stuff that's in the feed. But it is of the same quality that you've come to expect from the OVW podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. And if you're a fan of Daddy Brian Hines, that is your episode. Yeah, you got to get used to it, man. It's not going anywhere.
I did the things. I talked to people.
You did a great job.
I went back and looked at some of the video, and it was all right.
No, you're your own worst critic sometimes, Hines. Give yourself a break.
Hey, let's be fair. I'm always my own worst critic.
You're always your own worst critic, and that's even more of a reason why you got to give yourself a break sometimes, man. Lighten up sometimes on yourself. If you would not talk to someone else the way that you're talking to yourself, Brian, do not talk to yourself that way.
I don't know what you just said, little kid, but I believe you.
That was something my therapist said to me this past week. That was free therapy for you guys, the dear listener. So our Comic-Con special's coming up. Much awaited. It'll be really great when that hits the feed. I'm going to assume Thursday, right?
Yes.
Let's jump into some OVW headlines, Hines. Daddy.
So...
We love you, Brian.
Oh, God. So this is a really big deal.
That will make sense soon. That will make sense in the coming months.
Sure. Okay. So this is a big deal, and I'm really looking forward to this. I've been a big fan of the video games going back about 40 years now. Well, actually, I guess a little bit more than that, because my first gaming system was the Atari 2600 back in 1983.
With the most terrible version of Pac-Man ever.
Wasn't it?
Just awful.
I remember going...
But I played the crap out of it.
I remember when I was little going to the Pizza Palace in Ripley, Ohio, and they had the Miss Pac-Man, and they also had Galaga, and knowing that there was a video game system out, I fully expected the same experience when I opened it up on Christmas morning, and lo and behold, no, not even close, not even remotely close. I don't know how they could technically call it the same thing.
Well, but then, so we're
licensing,
yeah, we're gonna get a version of that old school wrestling feel with this Ultra Pro Wrestling. I don't know if you guys have seen this.
Yeah, that 80s wrestling feel, that 80s nostalgia.
I have not. I don't know anything about Ultra Pro Wrestling.
Well, it's a new game.
Okay.
And it is kind of generic. It's going to have some classic characters in there, basically whatever's not directly licensed to the WWE that they can get licenses to use.
Or there's a lot of retro, kind of wrestling and like officially licensed wrestling games with some of these older personalities are really hot right now. So it is cool to see that one wanted to include OVW in it.
Yeah, so they're going to make the OVW a DLC, a downloadable pack for this when it actually comes out in 2025, we assume.
That's actually really cool. My favorite wrestling game of all time is probably Showdown Legends of Wrestling for the original Xbox. For that reason, they had a lot of people from the NWA in that back in the day, and a lot of characters from the 70s and 80s that I remember from growing up. So I found that one particularly enjoyable. But I'm sure that I will love to get pissed and throw my controller at these wrestlers too, just like I did all the other ones.
I kind of hope that they leave Tony Evans out of it. I can't wait for the promo.
Oh, yeah, they leave him out. And Tony come out
just
angry.
I want him to get the paycheck, obviously. I want everyone to get paid. But man, it would be pretty great if they left him out, because they would he wouldn't let that one go. He'd be like an alligator. Death, what do they call it? The death swirl.
Yeah, the death spiral. He would grab it and he would show up at their offices.
So we did have a returning character, I guess. I'll steal your line, Brian, or Tiny Brian. It is an election year, so this is kind of the perfect time for a character like Coda Jacobs to come back to the OVW sphere here. We did reach out to Coda Jacobs, interestingly enough.
Yes, on Instagram, where all the superstars live, apparently.
I know he made Brian Hines feel some type of way. Do you mind, Tiny Brian, to tell me exactly what he said here?
So I reached out. I was manning the Instagram account, as I often do, and I reached out and said, "Hi, just wondered if you had a comment on your return to the OVW for this week for the OVW podcast." He replies shortly thereafter that says, "I don't speak to journalists without representation involved." And I was like, okay. And I tried again, and I said, "Can you at least confirm you're still working towards a brighter future in wrestling?" Which was the hashtag of his gimmick for his last time in OVW. That he was doing kind of a politics thing, and he usually wore like a button-down shirt with a tie, kind of campaigning.
You wanted to hit him in the face.
Well, I was not watching OVW, full disclosure, when this came out.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you want to hit every politician in the face? We can cut this out so whenever the government listens.
Sure.
Yeah, but do you want to hit every politician in the face? Because I mostly do.
I can certainly understand. I can understand the impulse.
Well, then you might wait till you see this Coda Jacobs guy, because you might want to hit him in the face.
Yeah, as soon as you told me what was going on, because I can only see half of the exchange because I get the notifications, but I only get half of the conversation. And then when we got here to record, I asked who that was, and you were like, "Oh, he's a politician." I'm like, "Great. An election year. Another non-committal politician. Fantastic."
So when I asked him to confirm if he's still going to be using that gimmick, he was like, "Can't confirm nor deny. Anything is possible in the greatest nation in the world." So that certainly sounds like he's still going to be going for a broader future in wrestling.
Is he in the Central Europe somewhere? Or is he talking about America?
Easy now. That's not this politics. That's not. This is not that politics. Not that.
So
podcast.
it sounds
Cut
like
that, Malachi.
It sounds like whether we like it or not, we're probably going to get a glimpse of Coda Jacobs before too long.
Ooh, I like that.
Coming out hot. Brian Hines has arrived.
That's right.
And the heat is on.
Bring it.
So that's pretty much the news, gentlemen. Y'all want to get to the tours before we get canceled?
Brian Hines, please take us away, please.
Let's see.
No. Let's say that your overdrive coverage is still continuing in this feed. Your
What?
Victor's overdrive coverage.
Oh yes, we will be continuing our overdrive coverage. Yes.
Yep.
Well, before we...
Nobody's listening to it, but we're going to keep doing it because we're stubborn.
Oh, that's not true. I listen to it because you make me.
I listen to
I'm
it.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm the producer on that show, so I'm learning the other end of the business while I'm still listening to people talk about wrestling. So.
I listen to it because, listen, Vic, I get it, bro. You put up all the money for this shit. I get it. I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me around. You helped me out with my personal life recently. I mean this, Vic. I mean this. It means a lot to me. But I don't appreciate all this shit that you talk over here on the Overdrive, podcast. I don't appreciate all this fucking shit, old man. And one day, I know where you work, man. I know where you work. I know where to find you. I know what day you record. You keep talking that shit, one day, bro, you're going to have to answer for it. Victor. One day you're going to have to answer for it. And it's going to be sooner than you think, but it's not going to be when you expect it. So keep talking that shit, Vic.
All right.
I feel like
Tour update.
I feel like you need to have some sort of music to hit, or some broken glass.
Yeah, there needs to be some broken glass or something.
Tour update, Brian, before he starts chugging beers.
All right. Well, after the tour date, I want to hit on something that we just realized here in the studio, but
Yes.
I'll go ahead and get the tour update out of the way. So this Friday, March 30th, OVW is going to be at London Laurel Optimist Club in London, Kentucky. I bet everybody in the Optimist Club is really excited about this.
That
because
check will
that's
definitely clear.
Generally how people who are optimistic are. May 2nd, OVW Double Cross comes live from Kentucky Derby Festival. Pegasus Pin will get you in and on pay-per-view.
Can I say something real quick?
Okay.
I definitely thought that said like Optometrist Club.
Like optometry is some sort of leisure activity?
Well, just like it was a bunch of them, they all like wrestling. They wanted to see it really well.
I get it. I just got glasses a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, you did.
I forgot to wear them tonight, but they're out there somewhere.
It's just a bunch of people who want to be really happy about that they're seeing. They want the best wrestling. They expect the best wrestling show possible, and if it's not the best wrestling show, then that's okay because they'll see another one sometime, right? At the Laurel Optimist Club of London. Right?
So we've unofficially turned this into the Optimistic Optometrist Club in London, Kentucky. So May 2nd, OVW Double Cross coming from the Kentucky Derby Festival, Nashville, Tennessee, April 26th. The Kentucky Derby Festival Run for the Ropes, also April 26th. Have we figured out how that's going to work?
Still not figured out exactly what's up with that.
Okay, so apparently OVW has figured out the space-time continuum, and they're going to be in two places at the same time. So I'm just as excited to see how this is going to shake out as everybody else is.
Yeah, and I will be there in Nashville, confirmed.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
So,
well, that makes one of us.
Yeah.
The
So
OVW podcast tour.
we will have a little bit of, I guess, two different viewpoints on, well, viewpoint from each one of those shows. We'll be able to cover it in stereo.
I guess what that means we have to go to Run to the Ropes. Interesting.
I guess that settles that. Des Plaines, Illinois, May 31st. Longport, Indiana, June 1st. Wow, back to back. All right. And OVW pay-per-view at Appalachian Wireless Arena in Pikeville, Kentucky on August 31st.
Which will be our 1-year anniversary doing this podcast.
That will be our unofficial 1-year anniversary.
It's pretty close to 13 months.
The official is August the 3rd.
Yeah, that's the birthday.
If you're playing
it's
on
birthday
the
month.
Oh, hello. Yeah, that is our birthday month.
It is my birthday month, and I don't mind to celebrate all month long.
I always do. Every January, it's Brianuary. That's just how it is. Since you're on the 31st, you want to get in on it too?
I guess I'm December.
Okay.
Anyway.
So,
let's move along.
Before we get into the Bluegrass Homefront ad, I was going through my Facebook memories, and yesterday was the last Spot Monkey show that I sponsored in Southern Ohio. And I posted a couple of matches on Facebook, including what I believe to be Carson Drake accompanying Dalton McKenzie to the ring for his first match, if I remember right. If I next time I see Dalton, I'll ask him if that was his first match, but I'm pretty sure it was. And I posted a couple other things, and lo and behold, at the time I had no idea, and I don't know how I missed this between now and then, but if you look up behind us on this poster from Rumble on the River, March 24th, 2023, in the very top corner, you will see a young, fresh-faced fanny pack kid, Cal Hero, who faced Carson Drake that night. I had to go back and look it up because I've been staring at this poster for a whole entire year and never made the connection. And Jackman, who had never seen it, was like, "Hey, man, your boy Cal's on the top of the poster."
My boy Cal.
What are you talking about?
Even with all the shit talk, Cal, I still love you, bro.
He's our boy Cal. The whole podcast likes Cal.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. We all love Cal.
Yeah, that's true. But lo and behold, there he is in the top right corner, next to Carson Drake and Bruce Gray and Ron Mathis and Trevor Vox.
And these were the shows you were talking about when we first started this podcast.
Correct. These were the ones that I have been talking about all along.
You still go to these shows to this day?
Yeah, I went to the last one, which was not this past Friday,
2 or 3
but
weeks ago.
The Friday before that. Yeah.
And it's kind of what an interesting snapshot this poster is, because it's not only Cal, Jack Vaughn, two guys we recognize from OVW, but guys that at the very beginning of this, you said they're going to make their way to OVW.
Yeah.
And now they're here in the form of Dalton McKenzie and Carson Drake.
They definitely are.
This is 6 months before you saw at least Cal Hero, and before you saw, I guess you'd seen one OVW show, but since you became immersed in the universe of OVW.
Right. Yeah, I had gone to the Country Boy show the previous summer, and that's when I kind of got into it. And then I'd still been sponsoring these events every time they happened for like the last 3 years, maybe. Shout out to Tim Taylor with Spot Monkey Promotions because he puts on a hell of a show every single time.
I bet he's got some stories to tell.
I'm sure he does.
There might be some good stuff
I'm sure he
down
does.
the road. Once we burn all of our bridges with OVW, because I've said so much dumb shit on here, we might have to make it a Spot Monkeys podcast eventually.
It would be weird for the OVW podcast. We unofficially don't cover OVW.
Yeah, we are unofficial, and now we officially don't cover OVW.
Because they don't want us to anymore.
Our coverage of OVW Overdrive continues this week from sorry. Our coverage of OVW Television Rise 1284, emanating live originally from March 21st, 2024, is right after this.
Hey folks, Tiny Brian here with you again, and the search goes on. As I mentioned last week, Victor has lost our music. He had a hard drive and a notebook and all the things he did that made the music happen for the first 2 seasons of the Bluegrass Homefront podcast. Then he moved, and we're still looking. Honestly, we've not had a lot of I know we had promised to be back in March. A lot of things have come up here with other podcasts in the Bluegrass Homefront podcast network, which is exactly one. But I've been real busy with that. But yeah, we're going to get our stuff together. In the meantime, go check out an episode if you haven't yet. There, wherever you get your podcasts, and wherever you found this podcast, it also has Bluegrass Homefront. Just give us a search. Go listen to. I don't know. There was an episode that we talked to Skinny, the Skinny Devil here in Lexington. He's a local musician and a music teacher, David McLean. Great interview with him. Go listen to that. Or any of them. There's 50 or 60 episodes in there. More coming soon at bluegrasshomefront.com. Now back to the OVW podcast.
Welcome back to the OVW podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. I am still B. Hines.
I am still Jackman Oaks.
And we start this week's episode with a monologue in the ring. EC3 comes to the ring, bathed in golden titles, and
Bathed in golden titles.
I love that, by the way. Keep
Nice.
that one in your back pocket.
yeah, just pulling gold right out of my ass tonight, kids.
He, as always, has a lot to say, and let me take that back. Has a little bit to say and a lot of words to say it in.
Yep, that is how it usually goes for old Sleazy 3.
Shit!
You were on fire tonight.
Why don't you host the show by yourself, Brian?
I don't need to, man.
I don't need to host it all. Apparently, if you're on fire like this tonight, Jesus Christ! So it'll just be you and Malachi in the room. Me and Brian Hines go smoke a joint or something, or me and Tiny Brian go smoke a joint,
and let them know that I'm on fire, please.
Yeah, no, seriously, Malachi, you got that? Calling the fire. Thank you. You non-emergency line.
Of course. Yeah.
So it seemed this was a kind of an odd start for an OVW Rise episode. They generally do not start with one of these in the ring promos, but I was kind of happy to see it, honestly.
I'm a lot better with I want mine to be, if I was picking my druthers, I'd rather have match to start, match to end. I'm a lot more comfortable with show opening promos than show closing promos.
Word.
So in that, having said that, I thought this was a great place for EC3, and it was to kind of book in the way that OVW books the 2 hours is you have 2 different shows, kind of. You have 2 different main events. Mm-hmm. Really loved the bookending of EC3 with the opening promo, and then them and him and Jack Vaughn.
At the end of hour 1.
End of the show. Yeah, I thought that this was a great way to do this. I don't need an EC3 promo on my show at all, but if I was going to have one, I'm glad that it was at the top of the show. And I'm glad that it involved Jack Vaughn to kind of pick up the pace a little bit.
Yeah. Thank God for that.
Jack
God
Vaughn
bless you, veteran Jack Vaughn.
Yeah.
Who comes out in the middle of EC3's promo, and rightly so, is upset.
Right.
Well, sure. Yeah, they had whole business last week.
Yeah.
But let's take a moment and
right.
dwell on
directly
the
before
content
Jack Vaughn,
of that.
Directly before Jack Vaughn comes out, EC3 kind of has Eric Cornish swear him in on the NWA title, I think. Or does he do it on the
National.
The National Heavyweight Championship. Yeah, he does it on
One
the
or the
OVW
other.
channel.
Sure. One of
Has him kind of swear in, a la, since we are in an election year, it's wrestling. We're gonna see this all year long, baby. Not just on OVW, but on every single wrestling show that you watch. You're gonna see a bunch of political parody stuff, and we're getting right into it here on OVW with not only Coda Jacobs, but with EC3 swearing on the title as if he's being sworn in as a president.
Nothing but the truth. More like a witness in a court. But I'll take your point.
He says that he's never gonna he's not associated with the masked men. That he has nothing to do with the masked men. That he doesn't control the masked men. That they don't work for him. Right.
He doesn't send them hand signals.
No.
Nothing.
No, he's not. He doesn't cheat like the Astros.
He doesn't, bring them flowers. He doesn't sing them love songs. None of that.
But then, of course, he's in the middle of this, and Jack Vaughn comes out.
And calls him out on his crap.
Right. Jack Vaughn was ringside the same way that everyone else was. Jack Vaughn was involved in the match where the masked men came out.
And
hit
everybody
everyone.
got a beat down except for EC3. How funny is that? How just odd.
I
Jinkies.
did say last week that I was not fully convinced at the time of recording last week that these people worked for EC3. I was willing to buy that EC3 was a veteran of the ring, he was more experienced than the other people in OVW, and that whenever he saw a beatdown coming, he was smart enough to get out of the way. I was okay with that last week. The longer that this goes on, I was never fully okay with it, but I was not sold on it. The longer this goes on, I become less and less okay with it and move closer to being sold on that these masked men work for EC3, right?
I think that maybe they don't work for EC3 directly. Here's my theory. We know he's got the national belt over one shoulder. He's got that NWA belt over the other.
Yeah.
We remember last year that the gentleman in the cravat and the blue suede vest came out and stood at the top of the ramp and watched a lot of OVW matches. We saw him.
Sandow.
Yes, we saw him personally.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Stevens, sorry.
NWA guy, correct?
Right.
Carson Drake, NWA guy, right?
Yeah.
NWA has an agreement with OVW so that occasionally the NWA championship can be contested in Davis Arena.
Mm-hmm.
We see a lot of NWA talent on OVW in general. On Helica Risk, she's on this show.
I just really think that we could be on the way to some sort of NWA, I don't want to say invasion, but it feels a little invadey to me. I'm not the wrestling expert, but invasion storylines are my jam. I started watching wrestling because of the NWO invasion, because I found it just compelling.
I don't know what exact function that the masked men have right now, other than to get the audience to ask who they are and what they're there for.
They're totally agents of chaos, and that's it.
And the best thing, the only connection that we have is that they haven't hit EC3 yet.
Right.
Anytime that they've been out, he's gotten out unscathed, including the very first time at Tough Love. Mm-hmm. The couple of times they've been on the live show here in the last couple weeks.
The Nightmare Rumble, don't forget they showed up there too.
Oh, that's right. That's
They've been
right.
around a lot longer than we even remember, but it's because we don't see them very frequently.
Were they at Christmas Chaos?
No.
That was the Chained Carnage. Was that the Chained Carnage match?
Oh, God, yeah. That was that.
Because it's after that is where they started showing up. They did not show up for Chained Carnage.
Yeah, because of the Overmen being forbidden to
enter the ring,
and then these masked men show up, and then the Overmen, show up and wave like, ha ha ha, that's not us. You thought it was, but it isn't. So the Overmen, there's EC3, and who's left?
Adam Revolver. The newly added Bo.
Well, he wasn't really active as far as this storyline went up until last week. So you got 2 of the 4 left, and then you've got Bo, the new guy.
I'm gonna go still roll with what I said last week and say that Dustin Jackson is one of these masked men. As far as the other ones, I do not know. Before we move on, though, hell of a promo here from Jack Vaughn.
Yes, as always.
Yeah, really great to see Jack Vaughn especially up against EC3, be treated as a baby. Got a great reception from the crowd.
Which, yeah, he certainly did. I mean, the crowd was behind him in full force, which is an interesting development for OVW TV. But if you go see Jack Vaughn on the Spot Monkey show, he's generally a face.
I think,
which is a cool dynamic to see. You get to see, Jack Vaughn as one and then the other later.
Hey, face in my book, man. Face in my book, the veteran Jack Vaughn. Up next, we see a sketch. Freya and Hollywood, they had an uneasy alliance. Freya, of course, got hit by the sock of rocks on behalf of Hollywood Haley J at the pay-per-view a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Bad blood here. Bad blood between these two girls. As uneasy as the alliance was, that's how quickly it fell apart.
Yep.
Non-title match, bout one. First match we see of the night here.
That was poster boy Jason Hendricks versus OVW Rush Division champion and white hot face Hoda Peso.
So wanted poster boy Jason Hendricks versus Hoda Peso, OVW Rush Division champion.
That's right.
Again, just another week of Hoda Peso being one of the best performers on the card and one of the most well-received performers on the card.
Yeah.
Those two things aren't a coincidence. We talk how much about how these OVW fans are smart and love somebody who can just go out there and wrestle.
Yeah, and he does it, just as well as anybody else, if not better, week after week. Right now, he is better than everybody else because he's the champion.
He is, yeah,
but,
exactly. When you have the gold around your waist, that does mean you're the best.
Mm-hmm. It
by
sure
hook
does.
Or by crook.
And he makes very quick work of Hendricks in this match.
Wanted poster boy Jason Hendricks, yes.
Yeah, and then afterwards, he is greeted by Star Rider, who comes out and congratulates him on finally being the Rush champion.
Yes.
And, I'm pretty sure Star Rider wants another crack at the title.
Definitely. He is the number one contender, and it looks like they have a match booked for May 2nd on the waterfront.
That's right.
That is going to be a heck of a show, by the way. These OVW outdoor shows, whether they be at Country Boy or downtown Louisville, are always so much fun. And that waterfront show is going to be a blast. Tiny Brian?
Yes, sir.
I thought you were about to say something.
Nope. I'm
Okay.
just
Sorry. I thought you had that look on your face like I had said something wrong.
No, I was just.
I thought maybe
So you're kind of used to it.
Yeah. No, the Star Rider and Hoda Peso, especially if that's booked for that big, what they're hoping to be a more casual, more someone who might not have the time or the foresight to make it out to Davis Arena every week. They're expecting a lot of those kind of people to be at this May 2nd waterfront show. And there will be, I've been to those kind of OVW shows before where it is a kind of more walk up, where it is more casual. That's why you book Star Rider and Hoda Peso for that show instead of for like next week, right?
Yeah.
Is because they're going to blow it away.
Well, yeah, they always do.
It doesn't matter if you've seen 1,000 wrestling matches. It doesn't matter if that's the first wrestling match you've ever seen. Hoda Peso and Star Rider are apt to steal the show that night. So you got to have that one on especially in front of that big, maybe first-time audience.
Yeah, and if you're at just an outdoor event like that and you're trying to pull in like the casual...
the people who just have their Pegasus pin so they can get in.
A guy who
What
still
he said.
hasn't been to a show since like 1987 and still uses derogatory slurs toward the heels. Like those are the kind of people you get at those
Just
shows.
wander up and be, oh, I think
Yeah.
this in a minute.
But
This
guess
one
what?
pretty good."
They spend money just like anybody else does, and that's important.
Their American dollars work just fine.
Yep, their USD spins there at OVW.
Yeah.
So no, that's going to be great. That's a lot to look forward though, because we're still over a month out from that match.
Yeah. Yeah, we sure are.
The great thing about that though is we're going to get to see Star Rider and Hoda Peso do matches with a bunch of other people on the in their division and on their side of the roster every week to build toward that match. And I'm not going to complain about that either.
Oh, no. Absolutely not. That division's just as solid as they come, man.
So let's get to second official match of the night, Freya the Slayer and Hollywood Haley J.
And I was really looking forward to this match, and I can understand why Freya's upset, and I can understand why Haley did what she did, being that that's just who Haley is.
Old habits die hard.
Oh yeah, old habits die hard.
It was not a tag team match.
No.
There was only going to be one winner.
Yeah, and I was really looking forward to them finally settling the score. And no, that wasn't the case.
Not, yep.
Because in the middle of this match,
you got your cake, but you couldn't eat it.
Yeah, they are visited by the Bad Girls Club, and lo and behold, wouldn't you know it, there was outside interference.
Oh, so the Bad Girls Club showed up?
Yeah.
And then there was a no DQ? Or a no decision? Because the match got to qualify?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, and they just stuck their nose in.
And the Bad Girls Club showed up.
Yeah.
Huh.
I know, right?
Yeah. Didn't see that one coming.
But when the Bad Girls Club showed up, then Freya and Haley kind of worked together to fight them off, but that kind of screwed the ending of the match.
Right.
So they were frenemies for a minute, but then ultimately they're going to have to go back and work out their differences.
So we know that the Bad Girls Club, this kind of seems like a reaction out of knowing that they're in a bad spot. Right.
Yeah.
They're lashing out just to keep themselves together in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of forcing Hollywood, Haley J, and Freya the Slayer back into that uneasy alliance, even if it's just for a second. But we know Hollywood's an agent of chaos.
Yeah.
Whether she's a good guy or a bad guy or somewhere in between, that remains to be seen, and that's really all up to perception, because in Davis Arena, Hollywood Haley J is a good guy every single night, no matter what she does.
Yep.
But I do think that it's interesting that the Bad Girls Club, who seem to me to be in their dying days, are still kind of trying to keep themselves together by interfering in a match that they were already kind of the victors of, if you look at it plainly.
That's true.
This was kind of the consolation match for their big match at the pay-per-view the other night.
Yeah, this was that notion, consolation match for the pay-per-view, we'll see that again during this show a little bit.
We sure will.
My question is, where was Ellie?
Out.
They addressed her earlier. They addressed her an hour or two was out of town.
Yes.
That's all they said.
I see. Okay.
I'm sure burning up the road, as we know. When we spoke to her on this show, spoke to her traveling partner. They stay busy. So
sure.
So really, who knows where Ellie is?
Yeah. Well, she had a birthday not long ago, so maybe she was out doing extra birthday stuff or spending gift cards or something.
Was today Shalonce's birthday?
As of the day we record this, yes.
It's Monday, the 25th.
Yes. So yes, happy birthday. I managed to once again misspell her name twice.
Nice work.
On the birthday message. So I would like to apologize to Miss Royale and her legal representative as well.
He will be reaching out to you before too long.
Yeah. The paperwork has already filled up my
I was gonna say you don't have to apologize to him. You just got to write him that check.
Yep.
He really is. He's Johnny on the spot, Mr. Jones.
Oh yeah. So following that match, we have a sketch where Human Thumb, Adam Revolver, is giving TW3 crap about the new Tusk and Chain shirt, which I thought was pretty dope.
I thought that shirt was bitchin', bro.
Yeah. For somebody who hates the name that much, I was surprised that you liked the shirt.
Yeah,
I love the shirt.
I try to always, when I have the money to do so, try to hit the gimmick stand.
Sure.
I wear a large, guys. Put that one to the side.
Yeah, I definitely need to pick up one of those
that shirt
at some
was
point.
bitchin'.
Yeah, I love it.
Considering Donovan was wearing one, I wonder if they have one that would be big enough for me.
That was actually one of my favorite parts of this sketch. Is, of course, so let's get to the end of the sketch here. Adam Revolver is talking all this shit to TW3.
Yeah, to TW3.
He's wearing the new Tusk and Chain shirt.
He's wearing the new Tusk and Chain shirt. He's also wearing a knee brace.
And there's a match tonight.
And all Adam Revolver knows is that it's with a member of Tusk and Chains.
Well, he's certain that it's going to be with TW3.
He's hoped himself into certainty that it's going to be with TW3.
And, of course, he was very wrong.
Yeah, but that is not the case because he is facing the Mammoth Donovan Cecil. So it's
who walks out wearing that
versus the Mammoth.
A matching, much larger version of the new beautiful Tusk and Chain shirt. And we hope that it goes up To Tiny Brian size.
Yes, to Tiny Brian size.
To TBS on the label. No, I love this sketch. Adam Revolver, I think sometimes, and maybe it's just like that we watch this more often, or I'm like watching it, but like I remember Adam Revolver when I first started going to OVW shows. I've seen Adam Revolver 1,000 times, and it maybe just has started clicking to me that I need to say on this airwave how good Adam Revolver is as a professional wrestler. Like, he really, really, really can do most of the time. Honestly, all the time, he's a fucking heel. But he is so good at doing Adam Revolver that, like, I forget to give him his praises sometimes.
You just get mad at him.
Yeah,
you forget to appreciate that he's doing this to you on purpose.
This promo was great. TW3 and Test and Chains were great in this promo. Adam Revolver was the foil, though. Adam Revolver had to be there to make them look great. That same way in his promo as he is in his matches. Like, I really do want to take a second. We love to give him shit, but like, man, that's a guy that we haven't given enough praise to on this show before, and he makes so many things work in OVW. So many things work in OVW. I just want to give him a little bit of praise before we shit on him again next week.
Okay.
I'm just happy that we got all of the Cal Hero stuff done with him. Like, let's let him do other things.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying is, like, sometimes maybe those angles go on a little too long. That can be said for almost everything in OVW. Is sometimes these angles go on too long. And sometimes they don't go on long enough.
That's true of most wrestling, though, isn't it?
Sure.
It takes a lot of restraint to end it at the exact right time. It just does.
Like straitjackets?
Well, no, just it's just hard, man. It's hard because I'll digress a little bit, or diverge rather.
Digest.
Digest. No, that was earlier. As a fan, you always think that you know what should happen, and then as the writer, the booker, you always think you should know what happened, and it's like very, very rare that those two things, like the Venn diagram on those two things, actually meets and creates a space. And like that is the way for every wrestling program, and OVW falls victim to that too. Is like sometimes things are just short, sometimes things are a little too long. Glad we're moved past Cal Hero, as you said. Glad that Adam Revolver is dipping his wick in every other pond around here. But, like, I do think that just for a second, we do need to give that guy some credit, because we have not, in 8 months of this show, given that guy any credit.
You're absolutely right.
That's all I'm saying. That's all
You're
I'm saying.
absolutely right.
That's all I'm saying. We said Adam Revolver ends up facing Donovan Cecil. Donovan Cecil manhandles Adam Revolver. Adam Revolver does everything he needs to do. Not that Donovan Cecil needs any help looking like a behemoth.
No.
But
and he was no match for Donovan Cecil in this match.
No, not at all, which is why he took the smart route out, walked out of the ring, count out.
Yeah.
Donovan Cecil wins by count out without actually ever getting the pin over Adam Revolver there.
That's true.
Main event, hour 1, match 5, Brian Hines.
We get that rematch, or that angry match that we heard about at the beginning of the show, which is the veteran Jack Vaughn, who's out for revenge after losing his title at March Mayhem, in the crazy tag team match with he and EC3 going against Shotgun Tony Gunn and Certified Luke Curtis. Jack Vaughn is pissed. He wants revenge, and rightly so. EC3 comes to the ring with a couple of belts and half of a cape or something. I don't know. And then...
he's doing like the 3... He's trying to look like he's in 300. Everyone in the alt-right's favorite movie.
Oh, so... Okay. He's into gladiator movies. Like on Airplane. All right, got it. So, anyway, gladiator movie, comes to the ring with his belts, raises them both up.
The proud overboy.
Yeah, the proud overboy. The ovary man.
No, that would be disrespectful to a select group of people, and I'm not going to compare EC3 to that group of people, because I like that group of people, and I don't like EC3 very much.
Okay, well then you take us home on this match.
All right, I will. Jack Vaughn, EC3. Kind of great back and forth. Really, honestly, I sent shit on EC3. He is a very, very, very accomplished, very smooth wrestler. And as a foil for Jack Vaughn here, he was great, especially after realizing how much of a babyface energy Jack Vaughn was carrying into this match. EC3 played a slimy heel, as good as anybody on the roster could, better than most people on the roster could, if we're being 100% honest. Even though I do think EC3's promos are a drag, and I don't like a lot of his angles, I really liked this match for what it was worth.
It was a good match.
However, unfortunately, five masked men come out, and I said last week, I'm not convinced that these people work for EC3. Then this happened. What happens?
So in the middle of this match, the 5 Ninja Mask Punch comes out and jump Jack Vaughn. The men in black come out, jump Jack Vaughn, and ECP just up and disappears like a fart in the wind. Like once these guys come out, you don't see him anymore. The announcers are like, "Oh, what happened to him?" No clue.
We see staff and security clear out from backstage. The masked men are out the door, essentially.
Off like a dirty shirt.
Off like a dirty shirt.
Oh, that's an old one. Come on,
I
man.
know. I've
can't
never
take credit
heard
for
that.
Really?
I've never heard that one before.
Wow.
Sizzle
that
behinds.
must be a
Sizzle.
That must be a Midwestern thing. I've never heard that one before.
It's something I got from the LBC. That's Lower Brown County if you don't live in Southern Ohio.
Yeah, it's a Midwestern thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
The LBC. So much drama in the LBC.
That's right.
Not
Not as much as there used to be since I left. But,
no.
yeah.
Well. Right.
What?
I don't know. That one got me too. I don't know why. Gorilla empties, backstage security empties, backstage staff empties. That's the usual suspects. We've seen a lot of run-ins over the past few weeks, especially on OVW. So you guys know who comes out whenever there's a commotion, whenever the masked men attack. They're out of there by the time the backstage area empties. There's no decision between Jack Vaughn and EC3 here.
No, there is not. Which means we're going to have to do this again, I'm sure, relatively sooner than later.
I'm not going to complain about that, but I'm hoping that the next time I see these two in a ring together, it's at a pay-per-view, so that I am more likely to get a
finish.
Yeah. And if you listen to our coverage of the last pay-per-view, you know that you don't always get finishes at the pay-per-view, but you're definitely more likely to get a finish at the pay-per-view.
I think the only fitting way to settle this between Jack Vaughn and EC3 is cage match.
I just want a cage match.
Yeah, any kind of cage match, really.
I'm just like OVW to have a cage.
Sure.
I want to say, did OVW
we hear about
recently have? I want to say that they had a pay-per-view that was all cage matches. And it wasn't that long ago. I know that TNA did, but I want to say that OVW had one too, and it wasn't that long ago. So they still got those. They still got that cage floating around somewhere.
Despite all my rage, I just want a match in a cage.
Book it, Billy.
There you go. Book 'em, Dano.
Bout 6 here. No decision from the main event, hour 1. Bout
No.
6, opening match, hour 2.
This is MBJ in his first OVW appearance versus, it is a non-title match, versus OVW Country Boy Media Champion Cal Hero. What do we know about this guy?
Is this
Cal
first
Hero?
OVW
I mean, I know
appearance?
he was in...
He was at a Spot Monkey show about a year ago.
The new guy, MBJ, MBJ, or however you want to say it.
No,
He's from the fifth dimension.
No Diddy.
Is how he was billed as being from the fifth dimension, but I don't remember him in that group. I mean, there was Marilyn McCoo, and there was the other chick, and then there's a couple of dudes, and they sang "Up, Up and Away" and "My Beautiful Balloon." I'm pretty sure he's too young.
Age of Aquarius.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You're picking up what I'm putting down.
Absolutely. It was the age of his first OVW appearance. It was also the age of his first OVW loss to OVW Media Champion, sponsored by Country Boy. Cal Hero.
Yeah.
I do want it's a non-title match. Cal Hero's in it. Nepotism. He's a heel. Whatever. I do want to put over that Josh Ashcraft and Brian Kinnison were golden on commentary during this match. Golden. Stevie J was out this week. They have heavily insinuated that MBJ was one of many of Dancing Stevie J's paternity suits that was brought against him that turned out positive. And that he has many more ongoing all across the country.
All right, that makes sense.
They were doing a great job.
Okay.
I thought they really, and they did a great job throughout the entire second hour. But I really appreciated them on this match more than some of the other matches because they were cracking me up and clearly kind of having a lot of fun themselves.
Yeah.
And picking on Stevie J when he wasn't there to defend himself is funny to me in general. So. Just wanted to say that we know that Cal Hero is going to win because it's a non-title match,
and we don't know who this
this other guy is. I have a feeling that the next 5 years of independent wrestling is going to be a lot of people who go by 3 initials.
Yeah,
and
just random clothes they find in the locker room. Apparently,
yeah. This looks like that he asked AI to design gear, to design Shawn Michaels gear is what it looks like.
It's like an AI picture of two people shaking hands and there's 17 fingers.
Yeah, it's like 94, 95 Shawn Michaels.
So it's like the Shawn thinks he's cute.
It's like the Shawn Michaels we have at home.
He thinks he's cute and he also thinks he's sexy.
But
he does not drive the girls wild.
He stole Shawn Michaels' look. That's how he got it.
He might think he did, but no.
AI. I actually know. This is like if Shawn Michaels his gear is like if Shawn Michaels was a character on the fucking Flintstones, baby.
That's it.
There we go.
Yeah,
yep.
That's it.
That's what it looks like. Get some new gear, kid. Good job. You were gonna lose. Nepotism. Cal Hero's a baby. Or
Nepotism wins.
Cal Hero's a hero.
I would like to point out that during this match, if you go back and watch it on OVW TV on the YouTubes, that during this match, somebody by the name of John Westbrooks gifted 20 OVW TV memberships to just random people in the chat.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, that is fantastic.
He probably doesn't listen to this, but that is a really, really cool. The internet is such a horrible place sometimes. It's nice to see somebody do something that's actually cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And it figures this was the only time I haven't watched live in the last 6 months because I was in the middle of watching my bracket just disintegrate on Thursday night. But
let's not even talk about it. No, that's.
Wait, they're playing basketball this month?
No.
Yeah, a bunch of the kids are.
That's crazy.
This is water polo
It's a new thing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, right. It is the boys' Sweet 16 at Rupp. Congratulations to your son for making his team made it there.
Yeah, that's right.
Congratulations. The only basketball that's happening in Lexington that is of any note. Or related to Lexington at all, of any note.
Well, at this point, yes, that's correct. But congratulations to the McCoffin County High School Hornets on their making it to the state Sweet 16, which is a first.
Round of 8?
So, I was going to say, it was their first time ever.
It was their first time in
the first game.
over 100 years, is what I heard.
Insane.
Yeah, so
it
was a pleasure to see you guys on the court at Rep Arena. It was even better to see you get a win. And I'm hoping for bigger and better things from you guys next year. But even though you didn't come out tournament champs, you have no reason to hang your heads because you guys did a hell of a job. So congratulations to each and every one of you.
Every team wanted to be there. As a little boy from the state of Kentucky, every team wanted to be there, and you guys were there. There's no shame in losing because you were there, and a lot of people weren't. Most people don't get that privilege. And also, McGoffin County head coach, you got a 7-foot kid play him. Yeah. Doug Basham saw him. He wanted to sign him to a contract right there. You're sitting this kid on the bench. He could be a pro wrestler. You're not gonna.
All right, let's not backseat coach high school
No.
basketball.
No. I am from Kentucky and I have a microphone in front of me. If you don't think I have opinions on high school sports, you are wrong.
Yeah. Well. Okay.
You got a 7-foot kid play him.
That.
His name's Trey. He's really good.
Yeah.
Moving along.
Going back to
It's a son.
OVW 1284, the next thing we see is a promo with Shotgun Tony Gunn showing off his new OVW Heavyweight Championship belt. Congratulations, Champion Gunn, by the way.
He said he came out. He said, "I won this for one person only, Stella."
That's right.
Which I'm not gonna complain about.
No.
I like.
No,
the crowd.
that's great.
The crowd was chanting his daughter's name before he even had a microphone up to his face.
Were they chanting Stella or were they chanting Baby Gun?
They were chanting Stella.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I missed that.
Yeah, it seemed like they were before. It really did seem almost even before he started cutting the promo that they were chanting the baby's name, which was awesome. Was awesome. Tony Gunn is out in the ring. Certified Luke Curtis promptly makes his interruption here.
In the best way, because
Luke
Tony
Curtis
was saying,
did.
yeah, Tony was doing the click, and then Luke interrupted him with certified.
Yeah, I love that.
He did it twice, and I loved it.
He did it once when his music hit. Comes out. Luke Curtis was on fire during this promo. Did one of my favorite lines in a promo that I've heard in a really long time. He said, he's going back, they're recounting back and forth how the match went down, where Tony Gunn reclaimed the championship from Jack Vaughn in that kind of topsy-turvy tag team match that they had at March Mayhem. And they're going back and forth. Tony Gunn's trying to appeal to Luke Curtis's better senses, and Luke Curtis says, do you not know how wrestling works? This is wrestling. Something to that effect. I'm not going to be mad at myself. I'm going to be mad at you.
Yeah.
Which was like one of the greatest lines in a wrestling promo ever, especially in 2024. I love that line. I loved it as a fan. I loved it because it made me laugh. Like, what a great line. Luke Curtis was on fire during this promo. This was great. Luke has been very, very, very intentional about, even on this show, on this version of the show, not even on our interviews, but when we sat down with him for our weekly review show, we kind of said, Luke, well, it kind of seems like you're a little different now. He refused to say, I'm different, I'm changing, anything like that. This is why. He might have done something noble. He's still Luke Curtis, baby. He's still certified, and he showed it this week against Tony Gunn. Can't wait for next week whenever Tony Gunn and Luke Curtis take on each other. Unfortunately, gonna have to say,
who you got on this one?
The Masked Man. That was what I was unfortunately gonna have to say. Is I
don't 100% rule that out. You're probably more right than not.
Yeah, and I don't want to that's just kind of unfortunately what I think is going to happen. Every time the Masked Men have come, they have robbed me, and I guess that this is, and I've heard Al say this in YouTube videos where he's kind of holding court, teaching classes or whatever. That that's what heat is they need to, and I think he even touched on it in the Netflix documentary. Kind of delved into his idea of heat, and the Masked Men. What the Masked Men are doing right now is very much what I have heard Al define as heat. I don't know if it's my kind of heat or not, but it's working for the booking. I want this to end in a clean match. I've wanted every Masked Men interference to end in a clean match. I don't think we're getting that this upcoming Luke Curtis and Tony Gunn match. I think it's going to be a Masked Men interference.
Well, I guess we'll see, and we can go back and check our predictions next week.
Yeah, that's going to be at least until the last minute and a half a heck of a match.
Yeah, until that last minute and a half. It's going to be a barn burner, folks, until it isn't.
Yeah, until right up until it isn't.
Yep.
We have a bad girls sketch up here, Bad Girls Club sketch up next, right here. Before their match.
Weird that they usually pre-tape these, but usually they don't do them ringside, so
I noticed that. Yeah, that was kind of a a continuity error on and
Well, it was a
that's-
choice. It's not like they accidentally filmed there.
Yeah, I know, but if it were me, I would have done the same thing for the same reason, and I thought that as soon as I watched this earlier. So I 100% agree with you as far as that goes. If I were going to do this promo, I would have done it anywhere but
Just
there.
their backstage area. You know,
Yeah,
the
backstage.
the amorphous backstage.
You want to
universe of
get
OVW.
you want to get something to eat at that bar where Carson Drake took Katie and Crystal to. You want to go to Baxter's or anywhere, Wicks, anywhere but there.
But it's fine.
But it's fine.
Yeah, it is what it is. Just as you said, a little bit of continuity, little weird there, especially since we've seen the Bad Girls Club once already tonight on this program.
Yeah.
It makes it even more stranger.
I think what it was is they made everybody in the arena empty out so they could do that spot live, and then they told everybody it's okay, you can come back in.
Yeah, and we
Mr.
weren't there.
Mr. Joe.
We weren't there
probably did
because
that.
we were watching Kentucky lose, but.
You mean at water polo?
I'm sure that's in basketball.
No,
I'm sorry,
you have to
Brian.
get over it, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Not every year can be Kentucky's year.
Can any year be Kentucky?
No, it just
Not
needs,
this one.
It just needs to be once every 5 years, Brian. You're right.
Okay.
No. You're right. You were right to bring that up. It was a little bit of a weird continuity issue, but I like your joke even more. Tiffany knows here, though, to get to the meat and potatoes of this backstage segment. Tiffany's breaking up. Tiffany's breaking apart here. Tiffany is planning on going out her own. I think I said that a few weeks ago. I can't wait to see it.
It seems pretty obvious, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. And I said this last week. She doesn't really have to change much of the Tiffany Nieves character. She just has to be put in there with a proper foil. And I think that Layla Gray is that. I think the Bad Girls Club is that for Tiffany. So
yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you.
that brings us to the match in question here. Angelica Risk versus Tiffany Nieves.
La Princesa.
Tiffany Nieves takes the win by submission. What a hell of a submission as well.
That was like, what they call it?
Cloverleaf?
Yeah, that was it. A cloverleaf.
A variant on a Texas clover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was looked great. Looked really loved it.
That's
Loved
an old
it.
school move. You don't see a whole lot of that anymore.
Loved it.
Not like you used to back in my day.
Another thing that I would like to kind of say here on while I have the microphone and we're talking about Angelica Risk. Angelica Risk clicked for me this week. I can be a little slow, like on deciding which wrestlers I like and which ones I don't, and I'm okay with being slow in that manner. Angelica Risk has some killer-looking working punches. Angelica Risk really clicked for me this week, and I'm looking forward to seeing her more and more. It seems like she's going to kind of become a mainstay here on OVW television. Looking forward to seeing her more and more, and really glad that I had this match against Tiffany here for her to, at least in my mind, the last few matches of her, the last few months of her, really put in perspective with this match here. I thought, and like seriously, working punches are magnifique.
She is a very talented up-and-comer in the OVW locker room, and she's expanded to other promotions as well.
Yeah, she works hard. She's all over the place.
Yeah, so you don't have to just tune in to OVW, although you should. But you can see her in other places as well, and she is phenomenal, and I'm glad that she is part of the OVW locker room and the women's division, because I know that the future is going to hold nothing but great things for her.
Yeah, and but unfortunately,
but not tonight.
Not her night,
No.
right? Tiffany Nieves, as we said, takes the win with that variation on Texas Cloverleaf. About 8 of the evening, Shalance Royale and guitar and
Don't say
cut
it.
that, Malachi. Shalance Royale and Ari Alexander versus the Bad Girls Club, this time in the form of Hema and Layla Gray. This was kind of what I've been waiting for when the Carson Drake, Ari, Shalance thing came along. Is like, eventually, I'm just going to get to see Ari and Shalance in a tag team.
Right.
Very, very happy that I'm getting to see it. Very, very happy that they're in the ring this time against the Bad Girls Club. I thought for me this was match of the night.
Really?
Yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed this match. I think that like Shalance and Ari, go back and listen to this from the very beginning. Two of my favorites from the very, very beginning of this whole thing.
Oh, I know how you feel about both of them.
But I did not expect them to come in, take the win against the Bad Girls Club here. But I thought that I just think that this is like four of the best people you have, and I'm the type of wrestling fan that I like angles and I like stories and I like promos, but like at the end of the day, I just want to see four really good wrestlers wrestle, and that's like, or two really good wrestlers wrestle, or six really good wrestlers. I just want to see good wrestlers wrestle. And I got it in this match, and for me, this was match of the night. Go back if you were going to watch one match from this show, make it this match.
Well, yeah, you've got a very, very valid point, because this was a very fine match, and. Where was I going to go with this? I had something I was going to say and then lost it. Yeah.
That's okay. You got it. You got it.
It's hard sometimes when you're on fire because it's hard to, keep all the thoughts in your head.
Yeah, you burned through all your good stuff already.
Yeah, I already burned through all my good stuff, and now that's just it.
Bad Girls Club take the victory here.
Oh, I know what I was going to say.
No, go ahead,
so
go ahead.
What is the match that they talked about during this match? Because there's going to be like some kind of fatal four-way tag team thing with Shalance and Ari Alexander and two of the Bad Girls Club and
is that
America's
next week?
Sweethearts.
Or is that at May?
I can't remember off the top of my head. And the closed caption is not working, so I can't.
It don't work on the 2-time.
It do sometimes.
It's hard. Kennison talks so fast as it is. It's hard for YouTube to
Yeah,
catch
it all
up.
kind of comes out in jumbles anyway. But yeah, whatever that match is where there's 4 different teams, I want to say it's like the Bad Girls Club has 2 teams.
Oh, God.
And then Shalance and Ari and America's Sweethearts and somebody else.
So if the Bad Girls Club has 2 teams,
Well, I guess that's it. Just those 4.
it'd be Ellie and Tiffany, Hema and Layla. I know her name. I've met her in person. She was very nice to us.
Yes, she was.
Then America's Sweethearts and Shalance and Ari Alexander.
Yes.
Gonna go ahead and say America's Sweethearts win. If that is the tag, if that is the match.
That's they got my vote.
America's Sweethearts win. There's this will end the Bad Girls Club.
Yeah, they're already kind of working it towards that way. So
whatever the ending is, I don't have a guess for what the ending is, other than America's Sweethearts take the tag or take the win, because that's who should take the win. And then however the ending shakes out, it is the complete dissolution of the Bad Girls Club.
Well, I mean, the pay-per-view is called Double Cross.
And then
Partner.
Well,
Shalance and Ari make everybody look wonderful.
Like they always do.
Main event.
This is a carryover from the barroom brawl from March Mayhem.
If you could describe this match in one word, do you want to do it on 3? Do you have a word? One.
This one particular match?
Yes. Luscious and Shira here.
Okay. Are we just going to say it on 3?
Yes.
1,
2, 3.
Interference.
Redundant.
Okay.
Do you want to explain yours? Or you want me to explain mine?
I mean, mine is pretty self-explanatory. There is outside interference.
That's why Shira loses. Luscious takes home the victory.
After taking that pool cue the other day.
Yeah, he deserved something.
It's right behind you guys.
Yeah, I know. I hope somebody hit that with some hand sanitizer or something. Cause,
I think Joe did. He seems like a pretty clean guy.
Yeah.
This is why this match at March Mayhem between the Golden Lions and Beaches and Cream should have ended in a clean finish.
Yeah.
This should not have been the main event of the night, of hour 2 or the night. It would have been the night if you were live, depending on how you watch it. Might have been they break this up sometimes. It's weird. But this was the main event at Davis Arena that night. It should not have been, because Beaches and Cream and Golden Lions should not be in a feud any longer because the barroom brawl should have ended in a clean victory for probably the Golden Lions.
Yeah. It should have.
And so not only did I think this match was a little redundant, I thought it was a little unnecessary. I thought that I don't know where they go between these two teams after what a spectacular match that barroom brawl was. And then at the end, Josh Ashcraft says something to the effect of, "This isn't going anywhere." And it was just kind of like confirming what I already knew to be true, is that they're going to have to really pull out a way bigger stipulation than barroom brawl, and then they're going to have to exceed the barroom brawl for another month.
Which is a big deal.
Tall business.
Yeah.
Tall business. Can they do it? Probably. I guess. I don't know what they're going to do.
Not chained chaos.
Not a chained chaos match.
Please, Jeebus, no.
Just there will be another big stipulation. There will have to be. The commentators said it as much, in as plain English as you possibly can. This feud's not going anywhere. And that's why I thought that it was a really big mistake to have that barroom brawl end with the masked men, because it should have been a clean thing for both of these teams, and they should have gone in another direction, because the barroom brawl was as perfect as a blow-off match as you can possibly have.
Yeah, and
other than the finish.
Cash and Shira winning that would have been the ultra happy Scooby-Doo ending for that match, and that pay-per-view, and
would have been the right
thing. That's how it should have been.
Yep.
But we still have the masked men kind of coming in and doing things, and well, that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, and so this week we got
Luscious. I really hope this turns out to be somebody cool.
So this week we got Luscious versus Shira. Next week it looks like we're going to have Cash versus Omar. That's a match. I mean, gosh, go back 3 years. Those two guys had a long feud. Cash and Omar. Seems they probably,
when Cash was an LOB heel.
It seems like those two guys probably wrestled each other. They might have at least an OVW in an OVW ring against competitors, like modern competitors, acting competitors. Those two guys might have wrestled more than anybody else on the roster has wrestled each other right now, just because that was during the first OVW Kentucky tour. They were wrestling each other like every night on that tour. Those two guys know each other really, really well. So that's something to look forward to. But as I said, I probably would have had barroom brawl end clean and wouldn't have booked this match and had these two teams somewhere else on the card moving on to something new.
Right.
That's me. That's just me.
That's not what we got this time. Omar hits Shira with a chair for the win. Cashflow takes the mic afterwards and challenges Omar next week. Beaches and Cream then bother the broadcast team, and then that pretty well wraps up the show.
The OVW podcast team, the 10th annual Carney Award nominated podcast team and podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling, is produced by Blacklight Moon Productions at Nut House Studios in Lexington, Kentucky. The OVW podcast broadcast team is me, Jack Minogues, and him, Daddy Brian Hines. Our studio engineer and editor is Malachi P.S. Woodard. Executive producer is Tiny Brian K. Woodard. Senior producer for The Blimp is
Victor Anderson.
I'm not saying his name. I'm keeping his name out of my mouth. After watching wrestlers on Netflix, visit ovwpodcast.com/podcasters to find all episodes of our unofficial Wrestlers After Show. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Rate us 5 stars and give us a review. You can also follow us at OVW Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, and to the Davis Arena. Love you guys.
Wherever you go, there you are.
Not you, Victor. Don't love you.